This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Experience a membership that backs your business journey with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy a welcome offer of 200,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
You're listening to the Super Rugby Cymru podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the SRC podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, the one and only Bookie John Harris. Good evening, my friend. How are you?
Good evening, Em. Yeah, all good, thanks. Warm, but yeah, we're all good. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying.
All good. Great to hear. We're all a bit podgy in older age. Unfortunately, Double R is not with us this week. He anticipated Ebu taking quite a thumping, to be fair, and he booked this week off in advance. But things change, and now he's on holiday, unfortunately. So unlucky for him. That does kind of lead into what we are going to get to talk about: the Super Rugby Cymru League semi-finals. We had Llandyfri travelling to Ebu Vale and Newport travelling to Cardiff. Now, going back to last week, me and you both predicted that Llandyfri would beat Ebu Vale and that Newport would overcome Cardiff. So we went for 2 away victories. Didn't turn out too bad. I am happy to say that, 50%. 50%, it's not a bad result. So if we dive into that first game, and we will go with the Saturday first, the televised game, Llandyfri at Ebu Vale. Now, before we go into the game, there was a little bit of shenanigans going on with the cricket club.
I did see.
Which I love it. You got to love a bit of banter. So long story short, Eugene Cross Park, if the rugby field backs onto the cricket pitch or whatever way around it is. So they've had to move the cricket games, or they've had to do something to allow Ebu to play the semi-final on the pitch.
I think it sounds like.
And what are they, like little stands? The little chalk stands you put outside.
Sandwich board, yeah.
That's the one. They put on there. Oh, good luck to Llandyfri from everyone at Ebu Vale Cricket Club. You've got to love it. You've got to take it in the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
It is fun. And for those mourning about the season running too long, if you haven't listened to our podcast where Double R does speak to John Alder of the WRU, the season will finish earlier next season. So that's all good. So let's dive.
And the cricket club did put a disclaimer out saying that they didn't put that sandwich board out there. And as soon as they were made aware of it, they removed it. I don't know if that's because they just read after the backlash, or if they genuinely didn't know it was out there, but that was their official statement anyway.
Well, I'm not going to comment either way. No. It's a good bit of fun regardless. Yeah. So let's dive into that game.
Oh, and Ebu, sorry, just before I forget, because it made me laugh as well. Ebu Vale playing "We Don't Like Cricket" over their tannoy before the start of the game, just a bit of a bit of shithousery from themselves as well, which I thought was quite funny.
It goes both ways. You gotta. It is awesome. This is a community feel. You know,
Yeah.
I know it's semi-professional, but it still has that. This is our local club aspect. We're gonna have a bit of fun, and
I've got
more
people
of it.
talking about both of them.
It did more of it. I say let's get a lot more of it. And we'll have to wait and see what comes up next because it could be something even bigger. So, tale of two halves. I think both games actually were tales of two halves. So, quite frankly, Llandudno, they just came out of the blocks, and everything that I like personally for me, you know, on the Llandudno side of things, it was like, yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing. This is what I expected. I expected that they'd all caught attacking game to really come out and try and push Ebbw Vale as much as they could, and by God did they. No, it weren't too long before they got over for the first try, which, you know, obviously really calmed the nerves. You know, you're going into a big semi-final. You want early points, and anyone who says you don't want early points is, blah. I don't know what they're talking about. So, you know, Rodri Jones got that first try, which settled the nerves, and then it
Lovely
really,
little tip.
it was, and then really it became the Jack Davis show for Llandudno. Now, I words can't explain how good this boy is. I personally think he should be stepping up another level at least. Now, he had a try and a try assist in this first half, and he caused so much damage, you know, regardless to those two instances. So if we just talk about is the try assist. He just cuts back in, and he beats 4 players on his own, runs straight through, and nice, perfectly executed 2-on-1. Lee Reese under the post. You know, these are
not always the case. A perfectly executed 2-on-1.
Exactly, and that's what's bringing me on now.
Sounds so simple, but how many have we seen butchered?
Oh Christ! Especially if you're talking Scarlet's region this past weekend. So, you know, we talk you know, when we're training kids at under 7s, 8s, 9s, all the way up. You draw and you give, you draw and you give. It's basics, and it's remarkable how many professionals get it wrong. But this kid, because he is still a kid, I believe he's 21 years old. So, you know, 3rd year in senior men's rugby, he did everything right. It is a skill. It is a learned skill that majority of people should have, but apparently don't for whatever reason. So, you know, that was brilliant in itself. And then another moment in the same half, he does more or less exactly the same thing. He just steps off his feet, beats a man, and this time he just goes all the way through on his own. And it's not just a one-off, you know, with Jack. He's been doing this all season. It was, you know, predominant in the quarterfinal. We've seen it so many times throughout the season and last season as well, before Super Rugby Cymru became a thing. So on the Ebbw side of it, they didn't really have much to show, and they didn't really gather much of an attack, but they did get an intercept try, which really steadied them. And I think that moment probably is the turning point of the game, because, you know, timings and whatnot, I'm not really bothered, but you go in as Llandudno or as Ebbw Vale 21-0 at half time. It's a completely different story. Like, I know it's not a full, you're still 3 scores down, but 21-5, you there's still that little glimmer there. And I think that, like, even if it was 14-5, I think Llandudno would have gone on to think, okay, we still got more to do here. I think that specific 21-5 scoreline, the way that played into both team talks, it just favoured Ebbw Vale. So we'll come on to the second now. So how did, obviously you haven't watched the full game yet, unfortunately, but you've managed to see some of the highlights. So any key points you saw?
Yeah, I managed to catch the extended highlights on the S4C Club Rugby program. Luckily, we've only got 2 games this week, so we've got to see a little bit more, thankfully. Well, Jack Davis is the one that stood out in that first half, because, as you've already said, but I've got to that assist, I thought, was just as good as the try, if not. He was round one defender on the outside, and then he does one sidestep that just completely takes out another 3 people and just puts him into space. It was all reminded me of changing sports, but Hal Robson-Kanu in the Euros when he did the Cruyff turn, and he just did that one little thing, and he just seemed to open up, and that's what Jack did. One step, and he was through 4 defenders, and he was just outstanding. And he looks like he's got a decent size to him as well, and the pace. He's got that X factor, and he looks like he could beat someone in a phone box. And another thing I noticed from the first half as well with the I think Eberville discipline, because there was 2 yellow cards in that first. I'm not sure if it was 2 in the first half, but I know I think they had 3 in total.
Yeah, it was 3 in total.
Impressive. Yeah, you don't half an hour of the game down to 14 men against Llandovery. That's you're making it hard for yourselves, but there. I agree that. And the kicking is another thing I noticed from this game and the 2 semi-finals. The goal kickers all seemed to have their boots on this weekend, which made it much easier. But yeah, as far as Llandovery go, I thought half time it was over, to be honest, because you don't go 21-5 down against Llandovery really and come back from that. Especially not against Llandovery who know how to win knockout games. So, but I think that as we talk about the second half now, I think Eberville regrouped, got the forwards going, which the scrum started going well. The big carriers were stepping up, and they were looking to offload a lot more in the second half, I thought, which I think that's where they started really getting in behind Llandovery then. They were actively looking to get their arms out of tackles in the carries and look to move the ball out of contact. And it just seemed to be getting over that game line more and more then, and getting in behind them and causing Llandovery trouble.
They did. They caused Llandovery a lot of trouble in the second half. They really did go back to basics for themselves. They focused on their forwards. They focused on their set piece more than anything. And there was a bit of magic in there as well for one of the tries, which we will come to. Now, okay. The game finished 29-28 in Eberville's favour. So obviously, Llandovery did get a try in the second half, but it wasn't until 82 minutes. It was
already the clock was already red. Yeah.
So for 40 minutes of that second half, the scoreline was 24-0 in Eberville's favour, and that is quite frankly ridiculous and incredible at the same time. You wouldn't have thought to have seen that. So if we start with a couple of their nice little tries, or they do focus back on the Sebbies. They group, they work on, okay, we need possession, because they barely got a sniff of the ball in that first half. So, that was the first thing they done. Go get me the ball. That was, simple enough. If you don't have the ball, you can't score. So, that's the first thing they decided to put right. And then they started making their way up the field. They used that scrum. They used that line out, especially the maul. Only the one maul try in this game, which is probably unusual for them when they score 4 tries. But but they did manage to use it to good effect. So that first try, they get up to the Llandovery line. They're pounding on the line, not really making much headway. And then, boom, one little offload, and Morgan Richards is just in. Again, this isn't something we've seen a great deal of from Eberville, but they have shown over the season they can pull a little bit of magic of that. Harry Rees-Weldon tried during the Six Nations period with his that cut ball back inside, and he just arcs away out. They do have that capability, and this is exactly what we saw from Morgan Richards. Right, it was a beautifully timed offload, and he just takes it in his stride. Next up then was, we had 2 fantastic tries courtesy of Jack Davis and Lee Rees, and then we got a third thanks to Ethan Phillips. And this was such a big moment because this was a try to put them into the lead for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. So he has the ball. He has the ball. What was he, around the halfway mark? Dink over the top, runs through it, chips it on again.
Oh, yes, I remember the winner. I was trying to wrap my brain on which one it was. Yeah, it's that one. Like lucky little bounce in there as well, but he was but he was putting the pressure on. He was there. He got to it and put that pressure on. You make your own luck.
Exact 100%. You caught me before I could say you make your own luck, and that's exactly what he did. Yeah, it was just beautiful to see. But you'd probably argue that kick might have been a little bit too long, but he gets there first. He gets his toe on it. He has Harry Dole in all sorts of trouble. I think maybe Harry Dole commits to getting that ball first off. Maybe the try doesn't come off, but obviously hindsight massive, so no blaming any players for anything here. And it's just such a lovely piece of magic that to see it in a game is brilliant. To see it in a semi-final is even better. And you can if you're audio listeners, you can't see this, but I've got the biggest grin on my face because I just love seeing this style of rugby. It is fantastic to watch. It's a great advert for everyone in the game, and we want more people playing, so we need more and more tries like this. So beautiful. That put everyone in the lead, and they did not give it back. It was bread and butter stuff for their final try. Ian Morris, back of the maul, just pounding over, and it was game done and dusted at that point. And of course, Llandovery picking up that final try once the clock was in the red. So, biggest takeaways from that second half from you?
Well, as we titled one of our other pods a few weeks ago, take the points, because they did kick a penalty in that second half as well, Ebervale, which if they hadn't, that try for Llandovery at the end wins it. So they were playing knockout rugby, as put the points on the board, and that's so important when you come to these games, as it's shown. One. Llandovery don't kick any penalties. Ebervale kicked one, and they've won by a point. So it all counts. But they were just fantastic in that second half. Ebervale, it's almost as if they've said after time, well, look, we're 21-5 down now to the best club in Wales for the last 3 seasons. Let's just go out and throw everything at them. We've got nothing to lose now. Everyone probably thinks this is over already, so we can just go out there now and play like you said. Go back to some basics, but let's get hold of the ball for a start. Let's slow things down a bit, almost. Let's get some phases going. Let's start use what brought us to the dance. Our size, our strength, our carriers. Let's batter them. Like I said, they got winning scrum penalty scrum. One in particular was just, they shoved them about 5 meters backwards, and off to the side, which just opened the whole field up for them to attack. Then, and like I said, they were carrying with intent, with supporting players there to clear out straight away, but actively trying to get the arms up with the tackles as well, rather than just hit up, and they were trying to get their hands free and offload to someone, which was just get in behind Llandovery then to get them closer to that line. And then, of course, the driving maul from the line out, that they've been probably the best at in the league all season, which, in fairness to Llandovery, they did manage to stop in the cup final, which is probably... you could tell they worked on that all week. So Llandovery would have known, were probably the best team to stop that happening, but they still, once they got it going, it is an amazing thing to see, because it doesn't look like it's going to stop. So it's just, just hard and effort as well. They haven't lost a game all season at that ground. And that's why I was so close to picking them to win this one, because of that reason. But I just thought, almost talked myself out of it, because it was Llandovery and knockout rugby. And I think I still have that cup final in my head. So, but amazing amazing game for a start as well. That's what I love about it. We were all looking forward to it, and it delivered, like most games have this season. So both teams should be proud of what they put on. And just fair play to Ebervale. I can't wait to see the final now.
100%. It definitely delivered. But that does mean Ebervale are through to the final. And at this point, this was the game on the Saturday, the first semi-final to be played. We didn't know where the final was going to take place. Was it going to Cardiff Arms Park, or was it going to come straight back to Eugene Cross? We didn't know. So, like we've done with the rest of the losing teams in the knockout so far, there might be some players who we've possibly seen for the last time in Super Rugby Cymru. So I'll let you take a good swing at this. Any players you think are probably going to move up next season?
Well, you'd like to think Jack Davis, wouldn't you? With the way he's going. But as you know, Scarlets have got some good options in the back three. But just having another look at the squad now, I thought Cian Abraham, I thought, has been another good one this season.
Yeah, Cian, since he's come back from injury, he's looked really good. I
could say people like Max Page and Ellis Mee, but they've already gone and done it this season. So another advert for the league there straight away. No, Ellis Mee's played for Llandovery this season, so we can't say this ain't bringing people through.
Yeah, Ellis is a great example. He came over here to play SRC rugby. He played SRC rugby, and like, Christ, this boy is this good, and that's what the SRC allow. Not only does it develop you, it allows you to show what ability you have, and whether or not you are at that level to really push forward, and that is what Ellis has done. If I go back to Cian, I think his academy contract with the Scarlets is up this season, and I'm not too sure if there's been any news on that front. Hasn't been announced as a leaver, but they also haven't announced any of their senior academy moving on, and we know that there are a few. 100% agree with Jack Davis. That boy deserves to move up. But like you said, the back three socks, he probably picked the worst region to really try and break through in the back three at. They've got such heavy stocks already. They've got the Wales back three. They've got Tommy Lewis, Johan Nicholas is a stalwart. You've got Max Page that can filter in there. And then you've got the news that's breaking out that former England under-20 fullback Johan Davis is more than likely, well, apparently set to sign for the Scarlets. So, you're left scratching your head at what they're going to do with this boy. Harry Thomas, we haven't seen a great deal of him this season, but we saw quite a bit last year, and obviously with Wales under-20s. I wouldn't have thought we'd see too much of him next season. He's just ready as far as I can tell. He's had a couple seasons with Llandovery. He's really taken his game up a good couple levels as well. The performance against England in the 20s during the Six Nations, it was boom, that was a firework for me. And if I had my way, he would have. Well, he might actually be with the Scarlets now down in South Africa, but he would have been. I know you still. I think Sean Evans is okay. I know your third choice right now, and I know you're traveling reserve or whatever. Your contract's up, so he is one that's been named as leaving. But I'm sorry, but we want this boy now. He needs to be in this environment. He needs to be playing. But again, how do you accommodate a third choice 21-year-old into your squad? That's always a fun one. So might see a little bit of him but I wouldn't imagine we see a grade. Probably come down for a bit of game time if Ryan Elias and Marnus van der Merwe at the Scarlet stay fit for a very long time. I'm not really seeing many other players. You got some on the back burners. Lee Reese. Look, I don't want him to go, but obviously he's at that age now that you just don't know with some of these players when is the right time for them. You see some players going on till they're 38. You see others, they retire when they're 27.
Yeah, but we had Alan Thomas with us, left us last season, and I think he was 38 or 39, and I think he still went to another club in the SRC. But he was still quality. So it probably all depends on Lee himself and how he feels and what's going on in his life. If it's the right time for him or not, if he feels he can do it. Because clearly for his performances, he can still do it.
Yeah, 100%. That's is it anyone we've missed out, or do you think that's everyone covered?
There's a couple of the second rows have impressed me as well this season, but again, they're more towards the late 20s as opposed to youngsters breaking through. But yeah, I think that's about it from me at the moment.
So that's about it. That is your Llandovery mini assessment. So that does take us 24 hours into the future, to the Sunday, to Cardiff Arms Park, to Newport against Cardiff. And we both back Newport in this game. And I am very, very glad to say that we were both correct.
Yep.
Newport did get the result in this one, and we'll talk a little bit more detail now. But the score line that it finished, 35-20, 15-point margin. That was the same point margin Aberafan had against Newport, and that was in Newport.
We were away. Yeah,
exactly. So
I'm glad you brought it up.
I wasn't
going to say anything. I don't like to talk about Aberafan.
Don't you lie now, but so apart from the fact that Newport have ground out a victory at Cap, second time this season, does need to be said. It's a nice little thing for Aberafan to know that you kind of in the same team bracket in the knockouts as to the team that finished first in the league. So that's a little bit something. So into the game itself, the first half, I don't think anyone really got a foothold in it. Cardiff did have the lead 17-11. The first point of the game came from a mega boot from Lloyd Lucas, who was probably the big talking point in the lineups when we came into this game. Obviously, Steph Emmanuel and is it Matty Young have both gone to South Africa with big Cardiff rugby. So those boys not involved. Steph Emmanuel playing 10 during the quarterfinals, which was we have. So they've brought in Lloyd Lucas and someone who's still under 18. And by under 18, I mean he can still play youth rugby. I think he is 18 years old. But penalty on the halfway line, quite close. I think it's between between the tram lines, close to the 5 meter, and he just slots it for fun. So fair play to this kid. He is one that's been pulled out alongside Carwyn Legger-Jones as 210s that we should be looking out for by the Wales 18's head coach Richie Pugh. So good on him. I want to talk about Newport's try in this first half because it's planning. It's pure planning because it's a first phase move off a scrum, and it is just delicious to watch. You've got that scrum. I'm trying to pull it up on my little screen now where I added to. I think it's on the right hand. Yeah, it's on the right hand side of the field on the 22. They literally just take it. The scrum half takes the ball round. You've got the left winger. Then I'll get you his name in a second. What was it? Yestin Galton? Yeah, that's the one. He literally he takes a nice flat-ish ball off the 9, and he's picked a perfect line. He's cut through and he's straight over. So, well done, but they've trained a lot for that one moment, and good on them. So, talk to me about Cardiff, then, my friend. What did Cardiff do good in this first half?
What did Cardiff do good in this first half? Well, they attacked very well for a start, but they always, as they have all season, their backline always looks so good. And yeah, that penalty to start the game, get your first kick in, he probably got his eye in off that one because he kicked well all afternoon with the conversions as well. So I'm just trying to read a bit there.
Yeah, you're struggling a bit by your bad, so
I've got to see the. I'm trying to remember the highlights because I had to try and cram them in, and we had to wait so long for them. Yeah, you take this one for a minute while I just read
so
it now for a sec.
I'll run through Cardiff's first try. Where are they? They're into the Newport's 22. They're playing the ball left to right, and they pick a lovely little line for, I believe it's their inside centre, who just pops the ball on, makes that little line break, and it's a nice offload into their 9. Is it Ethan Lloyd, who just crashes over for their first try, which, again, it's work you like to see. Their second try in this first half is, do I want to say it's a little controversial? There's a big kick. Both fullbacks collide with each other.
Yeah, I remember that one.
The ball goes nowhere, and it's who was it? Elijah Evans.
Yes, picked up loose ball.
He just picked it up and he's ran it, and I might actually be wrong at who that was, but
it was Elijah Evans. Yeah.
There we go. Happy days.
I thought it was going to be called back actually, but it was just allowed to carry on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's more of a case of both players were looking, well, if one of them was in the air, well, if the Newport boy was in the air, 100% he would have got called back. But both of them looking at the ball, they just collide with each other.
Yeah, and, maybe it looked worse than it was because it was a big collision. It looked nasty.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but it was. So that was 17-11 going in at half time.
Newport Penny was okay as well. They've said it was a nasty clash, but he was all right. He was unhurt.
Yeah. So another 6 points from the boot of Jack Lloyd in that first half. Taking the 3, paramount now into these rounds. So the second half kicks off, and a yellow card for Cardiff. I'm not sure if he's sort of taking out the 9. It didn't look great. Obviously we haven't got the luxury of seeing the full 80s. We can't really tell the context. Were they on a warning? Had he done something similar before? So you get a yellow card for taking the 9 out, and then from resulting penalties, kicks to touch. It's just a nice strong maul to take it over, and Newport getting to the lead for the first time, and Cardiff have got a job on their hands, and they're down to 14 men. What do we do here? So, they come back fighting, and, they manage to get themselves, a penalty, 20 points to 18 then. And it's at that point Newport really just turn on the all-rounder style that Newport have. We go back to the start of the season, we said the Llandovery and Newport, regardless of where they're going to finish, they are the top 2 in this league in terms of the complete side. We spoke about how good every forwards are, but the backs are probably not quite as high in that regard. They are top notch, but they're probably third or maybe fourth, or in that regards. So Newport really do have a full package, and they show that they have a nice visit in deep into the Cardiff 22, and they just attack, and they power over. Then that's Tyler. Then you've got is it John Morris? It's lovely work from the backs. they've identified something. Is a nice line out over the top. Beautiful pass from the hooker for this, by the way. Jack Lloyd, there's an inside runner coming to him. He's chosen not to give it. The ball goes out, and it's just caused chaos. It really has. Dummy runners who are genuine options is what I'm going to describe that as, because he could have popped it to that first man. It didn't stop, but he didn't run into a Cardiff man. It didn't stop a tackle from being made, and it creates that indecision in defenses, which is brilliant. And then they wrap it up with a penalty when it's 32-20 to make it 35-20 and finish the game. So well done, Newport. Second time this season going to the Cardiff Arms Park and doing over the home side. Oh, bloody hell. You don't see that very often, never mind in the same season. No. So,
and like Vale coming from behind to win in the second half, so it's going to be, I know it's going to be interesting. See because we know they can both come from behind to win a game. Who's going to decide to take control of a game?
So here's the tough one. So Ebbw Vale, okay, I know I talked about that 24-0 in the 40 minutes, but it was 24-7 that second half in their favour. Newport won 24-3.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of similarities. They're both Gwent clubs, and of course Newport finishing in third position in the league means that the final will be held at Ebbw Vale at Eugene Cross on this Sunday, the 18th of May. So that is going to be titanic. It's going to be epic, amazing. There's so many words you can use to describe this. Cardiff feel like they could have done more.
Sorry?
Do Cardiff feel like they should have done more? Have they missed out on this one?
They're going to think that, aren't they? They're going to feel it because you finish top. You're at home. It's in your hands, really, isn't it, to make sure you go out there and perform. I think that penalty right before half time was so important, just mentally for Newport as well. Going in at half time, you're either going in at 17-9 and you need a couple of scores, or you knock that over just before half time and you go in at 17-11. And you can, you're saying to yourselves at half time, right, we come out now, score first, and we're winning the game. We're back in front. Yeah. It's a big boost then to knowing that they've withstood that in the first half, and they can say, well, no, it's gonna come to us now, and when it does, we only need one try. We're going to be back in front in this game. So this is all to play for. And I think what Newport's so good at, I've noticed after they've done it to us, turnover ball, they lethal on it.
Transition,
because that the line out that went, it was a Cardiff line out that they overthrew, but Newport were just on it. They've caught it, it's gone, and they've scored straight away from it. They saw, it's as if they're just ready. If for anything that comes their way, they're ready to go straight away, and they're just clinical and lethal finishing when it comes to turnovers.
Yeah, this is something we saw a lot of last season as well, and it's quite funny now looking back on it, because we kind of spoke of Newport misfiring a little bit during the season, which you know what, if you're going to have your misfire, have it during the season, because they're on 7 wins in a row now, which obviously it's not the biggest winning run we've had in the league, but it's good enough to have that momentum going forward. I do feel for Cardiff, but at the same time, it's Steph Emanuel and Matty Young. I do feel they make a difference. I don't know if they change the result, but I do think they make a significant difference, especially at 10 when you're playing a kid still in nappies. And I don't mean that disrespectful to Lloyd Lucas, but he's still able to play youth rugby, for Christ's sake. He shouldn't be expected to come in and play a semi-final, semi-professional men's game. That just that's just bizarre. But this can go back to the very beginning of the SRC and only having one regional team for all these academy players. As soon as you take two, and they two the first 15, first 23 players. If Steph Emmanuel and Matty Young are fit, more often than not they're in the 15. So you can probably draw it back to that. Is Cardiff really? Should they really have tried to push for another team in the SRC? But that's probably questions for another year's time when we start looking at who's applying after this 3-year cycle. So Newport are through, Cardiff are out. We've just spoken about 2 players of Cardiff are there, so I'm not too sure where either of Matty Young or Steph Emmanuel are in terms of breaking into a Cardiff side. They're obviously getting in and up into the first team scenario. I would have thought Steph Emmanuel is probably closer, if anything. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of good back 3 players at Cardiff. You've got Cam Winnett, Jacob Beetham, you've got Gabriel Hamerweb, Ewan Stevens. I mean, Regan Grace is there. That's without Theo Cabango, Josh Adams. So that back 3 is pretty much stacked. Similar situation to, well, probably even more depth than Scarlets actually when you're trying to run it out like that. If all of them are staying on to next season, and
you've had Tom Bowen breaking through this year as well.
Another back 3 player.
Because he was outstanding at the start of the season, and he was getting all the plaudits and scoring all the tries, doing everything he needed to do, and he got called up for it. And then he was catching everyone's eye with Cardiff as well.
Exactly. So it's they got riches. They really do.
Yeah.
So
you've got David Cross in there as well. Who's another quality operator.
I mean, Cody Stone as well.
Because I don't know what more he can do.
Yeah, exactly. It's spoiled for riches.
He's so good as well.
Yeah. So if we're looking at other players, obviously I don't think Steph Emmanuel is probably very similar to what I said about Harry Thomas in terms of Llandovery just now. He's going to be in that first team scenario. Probably come down for game time as he may be traveling reserve more than actually involved in the 23. But that is just how you take it at this level. I'd be surprised if we see Mackenzie Martin back, because I think it was embarrassing for him to be. I don't mean embarrassing for the player. I mean embarrassing for Cardiff to be able to go, oh, we're just gonna have a Welsh international in our 50. Now that's what I mean. Not for the player. So I'd like to think that Mackenzie Martin is more than good enough to break that Cardiff back row stocks.
Still only 21.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I'm looking towards their halfback situation. I mean, I know he's not part of their academy, but he has been. But Ethan Lloyd has been outstanding all season. You do have Sean Davis, who is a Cardiff Academy scrum half, but I think they'd be silly. Yeah, I think they'd be silly not to look at Ethan Lloyd as a genuine option, even if it's just as a squad player. So it could be a case of it's bye Ethan. I hope not, but if anyone of the non-contracted backs in that squad deserve it, Ethan is probably one, if not one of 2. Harry Wild as well. The 10 hasn't exactly been a position of strength for Cardiff. They seem to be, some if Sheedy hasn't been, I don't think Sheedy has been as great as they would have hoped, and obviously, and they're losing Tinus De Vere to the Dragon, so Harry Wild could be making a step up as well.
It's Nathan has been excellent this season as well.
Yeah,
but again, is he realistically going to get called up at 27, going on 28, which is still young, isn't he? He's in his prime, but I think he's been outstanding all season for them.
Well, this is something we need to look at the SRC and what we really wanted to use it for. and I'd have no problem giving someone like that an opportunity. It would be difficult, obviously, because I would imagine you'd only want to give a guy like that a 1-year contract as a shout out. And if you've got a career, you've got a family, you can't just accept a 1-year contract on the hope that it works. So it's a lot of work to be done, and I'm fully behind trying to professionalize the SRC. I'm not saying today, I'm not saying tomorrow, but I'm saying in a distant land where we can get just better than minimum wage, just better than minimum wage for players. If you can say 25, 30K for a player, and you can say, look, you can play all season, all focus on it. I think that is something that we need to look at and try and invest in as a country, because let's face the facts. If we want kids to develop in this league, 2 nights of training and a game on a Saturday.
No, they need to be doing it as they need to be day in, day out.
Yeah, they do, and
most of the championship clubs in England are.
Yeah, it creates bonds with the team as well, and it allows you. It creates better connectivity to say the least, and that can be massive. And not only that, it opens up that player pool absolutely massively. Kids falling on, we getting released from the region and a senior academy. Don't worry, you're still good enough to play SRC. You can still have another crack. Give yourself another year or two development, and you can be right back in there. There'll be no issues. So yeah, that's but we all know that's my standpoint on things anyway. So I'm kind of beating down the door over there. That takes us to the end of the semi-finals. And if you've made it to this part, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a review, 5-star only. If you're listening on audio formats. And yeah, we love doing this. It's been a great season. We've only got a couple more weeks left, probably only 1 week left, depending on how good this final is, because we all know it's going to be amazing. So we really, oh, I know, it's so tasty, so tasty. It's wrong. Oh, the way it's worked out as well. Ebbw needing. Okay, we're just going to dive straight into the final. Forget everything I was saying, except for the share. Remember that. Forget where I was going off on one. So the final is on a Sunday. Okay, Sunday's not ideal, but okay, we'll move past that. It's half 2 kickoff. Okay, not too bad. Still a decent time slot. Obviously, looking at that next season again, reference back to that podcast from Double R with John Alder. You can listen into it whenever you want. You can find her on all the SRC channels, which is probably Rap on YouTube. Ebbw Vale distraught after that cup final loss to Llandovery. They really, everything went against them in that game. And they get a chance to redeem themselves in a final. They obviously they've put the Llandovery, they put that to bed. They're going, yeah, look, we've done it. Boom. Even though they've already beaten twice this season. One thing is funny. Ebbw Vale have beaten Llandovery 3 times. Llandovery have beaten Ebbw Vale once. Llandovery have still got the better points difference on aggregate over those 4 games.
Final.
Yeah, it was a 32-point massacre. Christ, you can that the whole set over 3 games. So yeah, Ebbw Vale, they really are this sort of. They are Jesus. They are rising from the dead. This is their redemption story. And then you've got Newport, 150th season. They are president for the past while, a man who's been involved with Newport for decades and decades has passed away. Mr. Newport himself, Brian Jones, just before the end of the season. It seems I'm saying the stars are aligning in favor of Newport, but the stories behind both these teams and how they're coming in,
someone's story's going to have the fairy tale ending, isn't it?
Exactly. I couldn't. You couldn't have asked for a better finish. It really, look, as nice as it would have been for me to say Carmarthen Quins have come out of nowhere and won the SRC, or Llandovery have done it for the 3rd time on the bounce, but this feels special. So special. I can't quite put it into words. I have managed to catch up with both coaches of the winning teams, so I'll run through their thoughts quite quickly. So Jason Strange of Ebbw Vale, Thrilled to have the opportunity to win the trophy on our ground in front of our own supporters. Always proud of them. That was a special effort. 3 yellow cards, 21-5 down, and still win. Was outstanding. Team has had so many setbacks throughout the season, but mentality and the resilience has been fantastic. It's a special group who work so hard for each other. I love being around them. That's my favorite part. It's a great achievement for the club and players to reach its second final this season. Yeah, another opportunity to win a trophy against a very good Newport team. We're expecting a huge crowd, and I'm sure it'll be a great occasion for everyone involved. So keeping things quite close to his chest, but they're not really giving much away. But he seems to love being with his team, and thinking of where Jason's career could have taken. Like, what was it, about a decade ago? He was assistant coach with Cardiff Rugby, or Cardiff Blues as they were. I think they were Cardiff Blues back then. He could be off as a professional coach somewhere now. So for him to be here and him still saying that's I love that. I love that part of our game. So Tyrone Morris out of Newport, we're super pleased with the result. 2 consecutive playoff finals in a row. So, pleased for the boys in particular, how we went about our work at Cardiff. Had some real good dominance at the set piece. Left a few points out there as well, which we won't be able to do against Ebbw Vale. It was like, look, it's a big, big season for us. Our 150th, and with Brian passing away, it meant a lot to go to Cap and beat them. Talking about the game, he picked up an injury. So Lloyd Lewis pulling his hamstring early doors. Not sure if he'll be fit, but we do have 1 or 2 to potentially come back in there. So we're pleased where the squad is at. Oh, happy days. We've had some good momentum, 7 wins in a row, but we're really aware of the challenge that Ebbw Vale presents. You've only got to see the second half against Llandovery, where they really turned the screw, particularly at set piece. So we will need to be at our best for that game. Very similar, keeping his chest close. Lloyd Lewis, wow, that's a big one. Like they've got a great squad, and I'm not saying he's detrimental, but Lloyd Lewis, he's everyone loves him. He's made of chocolate. It's for a while now. If you're looking at the S4C,
that's the big winger in
cameras. Yeah, scores tries for fun. We've seen him for
like a breakout dose.
Oh yeah, he's not for the faint of hearted. Let's be fair to boy. So they were the coaches' thoughts.
And when you're going to
what
look
are
at
you thinking about this one?
That Ebbw Vale have got, haven't you, to know that you've got a test going up there.
Oh yes, 100%. Challenger Shield winners. Was it 13 games at home they've won? So talk me through it. We know what the battle is going to be. The set piece. That's going to be the big one. I'm going to say Ebbw probably got a slight advantage in the forwards, and Newport have probably got a little bit more than slight advantage in the backs. But where they balance out, it's just going to be epic. So tell me, what are you thinking about this one? Where does this swing in? When is this swing in? Come on, who are you backing?
Oh, I can't come straight out with that. We've got to build up to it first. Well, the bookies that our friends at Dragon Bet have Ebbw Vale as slight favourites for this one, which understandable, as we've just said. They haven't lost a game at home all season, and they've just beaten the defending champions and cup holders. So they've got Ebbw Vale at 4-7, Newport at 5-4. The handicap betting is a +4 point head start for Newport, 10-11. So they've got it as going to be, and they're never far wrong usually, are they? And
a 1-score game.
Yeah, and I could see it being pretty much along those lines. In whose favour, I'm in an R in, because I did this last week thinking, how can I not pick Ebbw Vale at home, and then I didn't, and then they went and won. But the Newport, the last couple of months seemed like the best team. Only just, but they do seem to be the team to beat in the league at the moment. Really hope there's going to be a massive crowd at Eugene Cross,
you know what?
whatever we call it. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day.
I would absolutely love for it to be a sellout. Now that I know that is asking a lot. I think you can get like 8,000 in there, but I think it's quite easy. Yeah, I think if we can get 1,500 because of the Sunday aspect, if 1,500 turn up here, that's a huge crowd. That really is. So it would be lovely to see that. For me,
Newport travel as well. The Newport fans, they'll turn up.
Yeah, it's a final. Everyone's turning up.
No, so that's what I want to see more than anything. I just want to see a big crowd. It's going to be a beautiful day, with two teams that, similar to the Ebbw Llandovery game, I think, where Ebbw slight advantage in the forwards, but Llandovery advantage in the backs, and I think that's similar again, like you said. But I don't know. I don't want to back against Ebbw again now after I've done it once. So, but I'm feeling Newport for this one. But I'd kind of like to see Ebbw win it, to be honest. Because they've had such a good season. They're going to be in 2 finals. They've got the Shield, so they've had a very good season.
So, do you want me to help you out?
I'll make my pick. I'll back Ebbw because it's at Ebbw, but I think the bookies are right. This is going to be so close, and it's going to be a ding dong of a game. It's going to be a cracker. We're going to see some amazing tries, I think, and I think at 3 or 4 points in this game, we're probably going to think that both teams are going to win it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a couple of points, Ebbw.
I can agree with almost everything you say. The lead, you got a feeling it's going to be a ding dong affair. There's going to be a fight back against fight back, a big 2-score lead being clawed back, and it possibly going back and forth a few times. I wouldn't be surprised to see this game end in something like 35-38. I really wouldn't be surprised. That's the type of season the SRC has been. It's been, fantastic for the neutral, for the home fans, for the away fans. It's been, so perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we've got Llandovery with the cup. We've got Ebbw with the Challenger Shield. I got a feeling it's going to be Newport with the trophy. There's too many things that are lining up, and the way they play, their big match experience, and I don't want to say this about Ebbw, but I'm going to have to kind of move my point. They choke in finals. They don't get on well in that major final. The both times they've made it to the cup, they haven't done it. They've had perfect opportunities to hit the playoffs, and this is the first time they've really done it. So I think that the high from Llandovery, whilst yes, you're going into a final, it's going to be so hard to replicate and bring it back up, where those Newport boys know what a massive semi-final win it feels like, and know what it's like to go into that final the week after. I think that's going to be the point of difference. So I've no doubt that Double R Rob is going to back Ebbw, his own team.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's a safe bet.
It's a little bit of a safe bet. Yeah. So that does bring us to the end of this week. We hope you've enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe. Even if you haven't, comment, tell us we know nothing. Comment, tell us we know everything. We're happy to take on absolutely everything. We love you all. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait to watch this.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm still bouncing. I'm bouncing even though I don't know, like my legs have been going since the Cardiff Newport game full time whistle. I'm like I've been bouncing for this final. It can't come soon enough. I take it on a Friday. I take it on a Thursday. And bring back SRC finals on a Thursday night, please. I'll take it tomorrow. That's how much I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be epic. John, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you everyone for listening. And we will do it all again and discuss that final next week. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Thank you all, guys. Bye.
Super.
That was the Super Rugby Cymru podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
They got Willa. They got my daughter. I need to find her.
From acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson.
You can save that girl.
Today, experience what is being called the best movie of the year.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Let's go! Here I am.
One battle after another, now playing only in theaters. Experience it in IMAX. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
You can't hide.